involved, connected to the legal system, whether it be through parole or incarceration or some kind of legality than we had in slavery. Gentlemen, and I'm going to throw this out to the entire panel. How can we solve that? Because today is about solutions. People talk a lot. We're here to talk about solutions today. So gentlemen, what about solutions? Van, I'll start on that.
Well, first of all, it's good to be here. And I feel like this question of mass incarceration, the so-called new Jim Crow, is an issue that can be solved now. First of all, for a long time, Democrats and Republicans both were, I think, on the wrong side of this. People were racing each other down the street to see who could be the quote-unquote quote, toughest on crime. And we developed a model where, even in California, we were spending $160,000 per year, per kid, to lock kids up. And then 85% of them would come out and go to adult prison. So we had $150,000 prep schools for adult prison. But we didn't have money for schools and books and programs and stuff like that. So that, I think people now, Republicans and Democrats, recognize it doesn't make any sense. I think what we can do is move to a model, a pay-for-success model, where, to me, if we're going to hold teachers accountable, let's hold wardens accountable. If you're going to give a warden, a kid, $100,000, if that kid comes out and goes to Harvard, the warden should get a bonus. If the kid comes out and stays in trouble, the warden should lose the job.
Van, let me ask you this though. Yes. We're talking about a $17 billion business. A great article in the New York Times today talking about how now other companies are getting in on the prison system by charging for phone calls, emails, money transfers, all that stuff. How everyone is capitalizing off of this pipeline that we're creating. So I understand what you're saying about rewarding the wardens, but how about rewarding the kids with an opportunity in the very beginning?
Listen, I think right now, I agree with you. Look, we have built an incarceration industry. We now need to build a de-incarceration industry. Give a black grandmama $150,000 and one kid and see what she does with the money.
No question. Mr. Sheldon, I'm going to let you address that also.
I mean, I think everything that Van said is exactly right. And I do want to emphasize how everyone's incentives are now aligned. Like, whether you believe this is the right thing or the wrong thing, because of the moral issue or because now our prison systems are burdening state budgets, like however you come at it, you're trying to solve this problem. I think what Van also said that's true is that we actually know that there are things that work. That if you actually provide the opportunity to a young person to be educated and they're trained while they're incarcerated, and to have a successful reentry program when they return, that the recidivism, the rate at which they go back, goes down dramatically. The challenge is not only that there's an industry that's been built, is that people are not living up to their core responsibility. So the core responsibility, while a child is under the age of 18 in many states, and a few states still left where it's 16, is of the state and of the district that they're in to educate them. And in fact, many places are not even living up to that basic responsibility.
We understand that these states are not living, as you say, living up to their responsibility, but not only that, these states, these municipalities are signing contracts with the different prison companies that are ensuring that they have an occupancy rate inside these prisons. So they're ahead of time determining that we don't want to educate these kids, we want to make sure that we have the prisons full. That's what's troubling me, that it doesn't seem like we can depend on our government. So who do we depend on?
Well, we said it earlier backstage. The thing is that you have to really identify the problem. The real problem is that we are the commodity. We are the commodity that fills the pipeline with a profit. So as long as our kids are identified as profit instead of kids, human beings, this problem won't be solved. It'll only get worse. You take it. You can't expect a business like the prison business. It's a prison industry. They're building prisons and they're saying that if they're not 85% full, then they'll lose money. So who are they going to fill the prison with? They're looking to violate our kids over anything. They give us the worst lawyers, the worst defenders to defend us. So what happens is, you get a young kid who, under any other circumstances, would be sent to the office, and he would normally, let the principal talk to him. That same kid is ending up in juvenile hall. Why? For no other reason than the simple fact that he's worth money to the system. So this is a very complex problem that won't be solved with just a few words. We have to figure out a way to say that You built the prison for your profit, but my child will not be the commodity that you make your money off of. That's what you have to do.
I agree, but there are programs and things that can be done in our communities, like, Tori, what you're doing in your community with your church.
Yeah, I'm excited about Barack Obama's initiative, My Brother's Keeper. I think it's awesome, but it never was intended to be the solution. It was designed to be an impetus for leadership within the community. Because I believe at the end of the day, we already know that there's a system, there's a machine that is designed to profit off of our young people. And so we really can't, we'll let that battle take place on one ground. But I personally believe that this initiative is an impetus for grassroots leadership movement. And I think that as a community leader, I think that ministers and pastors and parents need to find a way to, first of all, be affirmed by the fact that the commander-in-chief is committed to leveraging his influence and his resources to make this problem go away ultimately. And so we have to connect with that some sort of way and be empowered at a grassroots level to put our hands on these young people and therefore plucking them out of the pipeline.
So what I'm sensing you're saying is like, thank goodness for the president.
Yeah.
What Mr. Obama is doing is amazing, what the White House is doing. But he's not going to fly in on a cape and rescue each person individually. And sometimes there's that expectation. We're waiting for him to show up. He's not coming to the neighborhood and picking out kids. But what he's doing is he's starting the conversation and getting this going. Dr. Ross, I want to ask you about the private sector getting involved in this.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kevin. And also, hats off to the president. And also, that he won't say this because of his humility, but the architect behind the scenes of the president's strategy is that brother right there, Jim Shelton. Let me speak to, private philanthropy, we're investors. We try to invest in social change, not just charity. And you heard each of these brothers describe a cradle to prison pipeline as a machine, as a system, right? It's not a happenstance, it's not a coincidence. There's a sense of intentionality and a sense of purpose to how our young men are ending up in these facilities. And so we need a strategic approach to dismantling it, right? And dismantling a voracious, very effective, very efficient school-to-prison pipeline and replacing it with an opportunity pathway. And so what the president's call for strategies is what we're rallying to in the private sector. What are the key moments and opportunities where young boys and young men are showing us, even at very early stages in their life, I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope. You may not recognize what I'm saying, but I'm losing hope. And I just want to tick those off, Kevin, because that's where our philanthropic collaborative is investing dollars. One is the window between early childhood and third grade reading levels. 80% of black boys in the United States of America in the third grade are reading at less than grade level proficiency.
What's the number?
80% of third grade black boys are reading at less than grade level proficiency. We can't have that. Number two, you heard about the suspensions in schools. Black boys are getting suspended in preschool. Okay, in preschool, in kindergarten, right? We got to turn that around. Thirdly, something for these young boys to do during summers and after school, jobs in particular. You hear from Van Jones, some of the work that Van Jones and MC Hammer are doing around getting these young men connected to technology opportunities, internships, jobs. And then lastly, we need to turn around the incarceration superhighway by reforming these sentencing practices, turning our juvenile halls and our prisons into colleges, into schools. Not college to be a better thug, college to reintegrate and contribute back into the community. And so those are the key areas where a group of us in philanthropy have committed around $200 million over the next 3 years to try and invest in those particular pillars of intervention strategies. It's not all the money in the world, it's just a start, but it's a way to get things going.
Let me tie all those together, because we always enter these conversations from the tragedy, whether it's the death of one of our boys or the incarceration rate. And what Dr. Ross and Bob just described is the fact that those are symptoms of failure all along the way. Beginning at birth, not getting the kind of preparation and support that young people need so they can enter school ready, not actually having the kind of classrooms that we need in kindergarten so that more kids actually are ready when they hit third grade to be able to read. All of those things are things that build upon each other into that system that Bob described. Right now, when it fails mostly, as opposed to a successful mostly. And the reality is now we know that we actually can do that very differently than we have before. But it's going to take the government making sure the systemic stuff is taken care of, that these biases are not built into the system. And then it's going to take the community actually mobilizing to drive the resources that are needed to support our young men.
When you say it, and just